I always wanted to gain knowledge and bring it back to my village. So I always wanted to create jobs for my kids and for my peers' children as well. That means I had to learn all the roles to be the boss effectively and lead and be able to delegate and put other people on is something the young people say. The joy is in achieving the goal and then helping somebody else understand that joy. Because if you reach your goals once, you're like, oh, I can do it again.
Welcome to the Heart of Advocacy, where we shine a spotlight on remarkable individuals committed to building a more equitable and just world. I'm Doni.
And I'm Ken. We're with The Advocates, a law firm serving the Pacific Northwest. Join us as we explore the inspiring journeys of these heroes who uplift marginalized voices, serve their communities, and break down barriers to create a brighter future for everyone.
So, Ken, what is your summer wardrobe going to consist of this year? Have you gone shopping yet?
Am I shopping for my summer wardrobe? What size am I going to be this year?
I mean, are there any trends that are like tickling your fancy or
fashion trends?
Yeah. Things that are catching your eye.
I'll probably wear jeans. My Merrells for sure.
Your Merrells. Okay. I really think one day this summer, let's see some cutoff jeans into shorts, your Merrells, and a button down. Oh, that's gonna be that's gonna be the next bet. Oh, absolutely, that's gonna be the next bet.
I don't think we'll be doing that.
He usually loses the bets too, so that will be. He's giving me a look. It's true. Wouldn't you say you lose the majority?
No,
50-50?
I would not say that. I would say I win the majority.
What? That is so not true. What are you talking about? I usually don't bet unless I'm 100% sure.
I have the receipts. I've got emails where you have.
That's one email.
I have
How many bets have we made in 10 years?
I have a
photo evidence? Okay, lawyer.
Of you lying down outside of a restaurant on the street.
That was a mean bet. Where were we?
We were in Baltimore.
Oh, we were in Baltimore. And I can't even remember the bet, but
no, because you lost. That's why you think.
Do you remember the bet?
No, but I.
Okay, then that point doesn't make sense. My punishment for losing this bet was that I had to just go lay on the sidewalk outside this restaurant in Baltimore.
You picked that.
I picked that.
You picked the what the loser has to go lie on.
Oh yeah, that does sound like I created that. On to Mara Palmer, who probably hasn't lost a bet in her life because she's so wise.
No, and I mean, you start talking about style, and she is just an expert at this and has made this her whole life, and it's so cool.
Yeah. So Mara is a personal stylist, born and raised in Seattle. She knows the community, honestly, north to south, really well. Really committed to the community and contributing what she can through her lived experiences and sharing, the perspectives and knowledge that have come from those. Really great woman.
I don't think she set out to be a stylist, but it just happened. I mean, for a career, and she chose it because it would always be needed. I mean, it was something that people couldn't do for themselves. And how she's embraced that is a powerful story.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really excited for us to dive in.
Okay, let's go.
Let's do it.
So if you could go back 20 years, what would your past self think about what you're doing today?
I am amazed every single time I reach my goals, because I have continuously had to set new goals my whole life. So 20 years past, I would be like, okay, you should be a little further than you are now, but you're doing good. You're doing the things that you set out to do. And it's so funny to look back at my old notebooks. I don't know how much you keep stuff, but I keep stuff. So I think my first mission statement was to create a platform of commerce for those in the hair, beauty, and fashion industry. And that's because I didn't have a platform. I had to create a lane for myself. So I am so Seattle. This is my city. I claim full ownership because I've really had my way here. And I'm just so thankful. I know it has a lot to do with where you're born these days. Um, right? So that's number
Totally
one.
does.
I have no control over that, but I greatly benefit from it if I'm open to tapping into the resources, and we are resource rich.
When did you set those goals?
I had my first child at 17, so I had to have a plan to take care of him. And, back then, nobody would hire you if you didn't have a degree or years of experience. So self-employment was the only opportunity available to me. I always would work like a part-time job to get benefits for my kids, but being an entrepreneur is how I fed them. I had to create the vision, and opening more doors was part of it. So whatever door I got through, you know what I'm saying? I always wanted to gain knowledge and bring it back to my village. So I always wanted to create jobs for my kids and for my peers' children as well. And I've strategically taken jobs and gained skills on purpose to be qualified to do all the things. And so my long-term goal was to be a philanthropist. And as a child, that's kind of crazy, right? So my dream was to have like a custom-made business suit, like as a child, right? Because I got a lot of hand-me-downs, so I wanted something fit just for me. And, being the boss was just going to be the icing on the cake. So that means I had to learn all the roles to be the boss effectively and lead and be able to delegate and put other people on is something the young people say. The joy is in achieving the goal and then helping somebody else understand that joy. Because if you reach your goals once, you're like, oh, I can do it again.
So 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard path.
Yeah, I don't recommend it for the weak.
I'm thinking, my wife was 20 when we had our first, and I always feel like we were kids who were having kids. And it was like, okay, you do the thing that everybody does later first, and then after having kids, it's like, okay, now let's go to college and figure out what we're going to do. And that was so backwards. I'm wondering how that affected you, kind of starting out that way.
I was in a unique position. I had a lot of responsibility as a child. I took a lot out of my own personal growing up to help raise my sisters. So you're like, bam, you're the boss. So what are you going to do? So I thought I was more mature than I was, of course, right? And without the proper grooming, you think it's a good idea to have your kids at 17 because my mom had me at 17. So she did a pretty good job, if I can say so myself. It was a lot of sacrifice, but I wanted them to all be 18 and over when I was 40. That was my plan. So I had to strategically figure it out. And I truly didn't think they would care if I was in college or at work or wherever. They're at daycare. So as long as I provide the positive memories, like that was my focus. Of course, you want to do better than your parents did, right? So, I was a latchkey kid. So I wanted to be there, because my mom was always working on the other side of town at that. We didn't have all the Ubers and Lyfts. Like if the bus stopped running, you just weren't getting anywhere. And if somebody was on the phone, you didn't get through. That was just how we grew up, right? And so, yeah, I wanted to be here for the Jetsons era. I'm here for all the technology, all the tech that the kids are generating. I'm here for it all. I'm a whole grandma now. So I love all the baby warmers and the white warmers. And yes, let's do it all. It's so fun being on this side.
The tech is
here. It really is.
The tech is here.
Yeah.
But you're too young to be a grandma.
I am. I really, and my middle child did that to me. Blame it on him. But I wasn't happy at first, and I talked to other people, you know, that are not ready to be grandparents either, and it's like, you know what? That's the only way my bloodline is going to continue. So how dare me have a say in when it happens? Because I'm just a grandma after all. I don't have any rights.
Mm-hmm.
The parents still have to teach this child everything,
Yeah.
right? So I did my part.
Yeah. I think as grandparents, we get the, because I have two
Mm.
grandkids, but I think you get some privileges that mom and dad don't get.
Oh yeah. Well, my grandson is currently living in Atlanta. So I have to travel to see him, but we had the best time. I went and spent a week with him, and then went to the hair show that weekend. So I made it that's how you do it. Effectively manage my time. I made it a business personal trip. But we had such a blast. I mean, I've never had the middle of the day with nothing to do and just 1-year-old to hang out with. It was amazing. I'm like,
That's
how do
pretty
people
cool.
work and do this? I forgot everything. Like, my youngest is 23,
Wow.
so yes, parenting is a ride, but oh man, your kids are your best investment of your time, your money, your energy, like all the things. And the way I really narrow it down is I want to be a big mama. And people don't really understand that word because they don't have the references all the time,
Yeah.
but when I grew up, nobody was at home when I got off of school, so I was always welcome at the Cheatham's house, and their grandma was referred to as Big
The
Mama.
big mama.
She was Big
Okay.
Mama. Like,
I
that
love
was
that.
everything.
Mhm.
I wanted to have a big family. You just can't really afford it now, because how much stuff costs. But
Mhm.
having a house full of people and a pot of food on the stove, and you're welcome to have some as long as her granddad ate first, like, that lifestyle is perfect, right? That's what more people need.
Yeah.
So, I like to be that for my generation. I'm a young elder now because I'll be 46 on Monday.
Wow.
And I feel like I'm
Congratulations.
half retired now. As hard as I used to have to go dragging kids across town, and somebody's late because they're cleat, and that's your emergency
They're
now.
cleat.
And,
They're
all the
shin
things.
guard.
Like, that was my life for a long time. But it seems like it was so long ago now,
Well, you got a lot of life left to live too.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to Canada for my birthday and just do whatever I want. I've never had the freedom to live, like that. So,
That's well earned.
yeah, thank you.
Are you the big mama now?
I am. I mean, I look after a lot of people's best interests in personal, work life, all the things. And I tease my family because, I tell them, you're going to miss me when I'm gone, okay? I'm going to make sure I'm just that good to you that, so it's great.
In an interview several years ago, you said, I don't really think anyone's like me. Why is that?
Well, the grit that's required to open doors and leave them open for other people in Seattle, Washington can be very trying on you. And I love the challenge of it. Even when it comes to my passion, hobby, trade, doing hair, like,
Yeah.
I don't like to do it all the time, but I do like the challenge of certain projects. So it excites me to keep growing and
Yeah.
pushing my own skill sets,
Yeah. You keep kind of referring to legacy too. So it's not just about that door you're opening for yourself,
Yeah.
but leaving it open for the people, that come after you. And I want to dig a little bit into Seattle because you've mentioned
Mhm.
it being harder
Yeah.
in Seattle. Why do you say that?
Well, oftentimes there's no one in the room that looks like me,
That's right.
Yeah.
oftentimes. And I'm just so thankful because of the opportunities that I've had to be myself and be accepted.
Yeah.
Like, that is like no other. The opportunities that I've been able to provide my children because of our location is Seattle, Washington, is is like night and day compared to if they grew up with their dad, you know, and I thrive in that environment, you know, and I want it to be contagious. Like,
Yeah.
if I can do it, you can do it. Like, I remember sitting in the DSHS office asking them to pay my tuition for my first quarter of beauty school and being told that was a declining industry.
They're judging you from.
Oops, that was the wrong call.
So I was just like, okay, I'll make sure I'll never be in this position again. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because that is just, it's so ridiculous to understand what people have to go through just to prove their value, you know? And so a lot of times, you know, I'm the smallest in the room too, you know what I mean? And so, and a lot of the fields that pique my interest are male dominated, you know? So even now, as I tap into the built environment a little bit, because I think the housing industry can be done better. And now that things are being built in factories, I can be the boss. I don't have to build it myself.
Yeah.
So I would love to dabble into development as well as philanthropy, you know, because I've raised a generation. I understand the importance of taking care of your elders, and that's a big priority for me, to take care of the youth and the elders, because that is your job when you're in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, building that casita or that ADU, anticipating common areas and spaces where a multi-generational family can really thrive is that village concept that more people need to be introduced to. Okay. You take care of your people and it comes back to you.
That's very not like Seattle, but I think it's valuable.
Back when I grew up in the Madrona neighborhood in the CD, you know, the Central District of Seattle, and I just enjoyed having friends close by. I didn't know the history, and that, you know, African Americans could typically only buy property in that area. So that's why we were all there, right? But we had 3 houses on the block. So we played kickball and double dutch, and I had parks and beaches within walking distance on both sides. Like, growing up here was great. You know, that memory of being in a big house full of multiple generations and a whole bunch of cousins,
Yeah.
you know, that was a Seattle thing. My mom said, you ain't related to everybody here, but when you grow up with people that look out for you, you know, and you're raised as family, that's your cousin. So I would go out of my way on the holidays to make sure my kids saw my dad's side of the family, my mom's side of the family, their dad's side of the family. And, you know, that was me putting forth that effort to give them something that I wanted them to really
So
have.
valuable. I mean, they probably hated it at the time.
No, they didn't give me a hard time. He was just cussed out for being late everywhere. So, we're coming. Are you coming? Yes.
Oh, that's
Even now, like, I make sure I make it over to my aunt's house, and my kids came too, which the 2 that are here in Seattle. And that was just so special. Like, my aunts are in their 70s now. Like, and we're talking about heavy hitters that have really contributed to Seattle. So I get why I'm the way I am. You know?
So you were about 12 when you started doing hair? All right. How did that start? What did the beginning look like?
Well, the beginning looked like me asking my little sister, Shonda, to teach me how to braid, because she knew how to braid, and that just wasn't going to work for me. So
You're younger. You can't
we
know
got to
more.
figure this out right here. And I think it was like on the stairs. I remember sitting there on the stairs with her. And my little sister taught me how to braid. And she never went to beauty school, but she ended up having a pretty large clientele of just people in the neighborhood, even celebrity clients. Like, she gave me my first celebrity client because she wasn't available one day. So it's just amazing. Hair has really taken care of me. But yeah, I started braiding people's hair on the porch when I had to babysit my sisters. I couldn't leave the house, and you can't come in, but I could do your hair on the porch.
You must have been good.
Yeah. Yes, I can still remember my mom saying, "That's so country."
You're like, thank you.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
I will take it all the way to the bank.
First celebrity client. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, at the time, in Seattle, it's really who you know. That's why I love this place. When you know all the right people, you got action. So she she was asked to do his hair because that was her thing at the time. And my cousin is so funny. I think if he can remember this, that'll be great because he's big time now. Omari Salisbury, Converge Media. He was working with some of the rookies as they come into town, show them around. He's connected. So he connected them. And one day she wasn't available. He was going to my mom's house getting his hair done at the time over in the Central area, that same house I grew up in Madrona. And yeah, one day she wasn't available and he knew I did hair. So he was like, "Can you ask your sister, will she do my hair?" And so I did. And from then on, I did it every week. And that was major back then.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
that was good money that I normally wouldn't have been able to. That was like a week's worth of groceries back then, really. But that's when they got interviewed after the game. So, they want a different style. And I just got to be a creative. And he didn't care. He just sat down. Those are the best clients. They just want to
make it
be in
go.
your chair.
Mhm.
Yes. And so, so I remember one week I took his tie and took the design from his tie and made a design in his braids. And so it was really fun. I enjoyed my 20s in Seattle, even though I was a mother of 3 and worked hard. Yeah, you just have those alternative hours. So you fit in a little self-care, a little
Yeah.
family time. But yeah, we just made all of our obligations fun. So the AAU tournaments out of town, those were the vacations,
Mhm.
That's the best I can do. Y'all get in the pool
Mhm.
and have a good time and enjoy some of this Yakima weather. But yeah,
Wow.
it's been a ride.
Yeah. That's cup half full. I love it. All right, let's transition to fulfilled needs.
Mhm.
So that's your styling company.
Yes.
We'll talk more about services, but first, I'm curious about the name.
Oh yeah. I've had it since I think I changed my DBA in 2004.
Okay.
And it's so genuine. It's face value. It's like it's what I really aim to do, and as long as you're fulfilling needs. My aunt, Dr. Anita Connell, put me on the spot one time when it came to what I wanted to do for a living. At first I wanted to be a cop, and then I was like, no, that's not gonna work. Then I wanted to be a dentist, and I had to realize that you really can't turn away any patients when you're in that field. So no, I wasn't comfortable with that. And then I said I wanted to be an interior decorator, and she just said, "Now, is this something that somebody can do for themselves? Because that's not really what you want to pick. Is this something that's gonna maintain your lifestyle? Because that's not something that you want to pick either. And is this something that's going to be the first thing to go, when money gets tight? People can clean their own house. They can go buy their own groceries. And it's nice to send in an order and it magically appear on your doorstep. But, it really made me think about it. And so in my world of beauty and fashion and all the things that I touch, I want to fulfill needs. I even started offering another service, but it's still fulfilling somebody's need,
Mhm.
and especially being a young, petite Black woman, I had a lot of needs
Mhm.
I needed fulfilled, right?
Right.
So I am my target customer, and I just kind of operated under FN styling because fulfilled needs was taken as far as the Instagram handle and stuff like that. So but I have the domain now. So fulfilledneeds.com is where people can learn more about me and some of the things that I do. But yeah, I was forward thinking way back then,
Mhm.
It's funny to see somebody's handle now. Like, you didn't really think about that too much, huh? It's like sexy number 12.
Oops.
Nope. No, but yeah, that's
It's a
what I
beautiful
want to
name.
do.
Yeah,
Thank
It
you.
really
I like
is.
that a lot.
And it went from cop to dentist to interior decorator to stylist.
Yeah, by default. Like,
What do they all
I
have in
like where you
common?
landed.
What do they all have in common? I think they're all customer facing roles. Like
They are
either
all
service,
helping
yeah,
others.
community
for
service in
sure.
some way.
Yeah, I'm a servant leader, that's for sure.
Yes, I like it.
Okay.
All right, tell us what you do.
Sure. So at the moment, I offer beauty, makeup, and fashion services for both the living and the deceased. So I have a clientele of folks that won't let me retire that I love to beautify every now and then. I also work with a large population of those that face hair loss issues.
Okay.
So, I specialize in doing things that challenge me, so I can continually upgrade my skills and my people benefit directly from it. So I'm the secret hairstylist, even though I do public works. It's really nice to be at this point where you're asked to come and be a key stylist at the 50th anniversary of hip hop fashion show on the waterfront, or I did hair and makeup for all the commissioned artists that participated in the Jackson Place Apartments, the Vulcan property that replaced the Promenade 23 in my community. To do hair and makeup for all the Black artists that did installations there. Those
That's
are the
pretty
type
cool.
of projects that you want to be available for, right?
Yeah.
So you have to kind of be selective on what you can do with your time. And I'm kind of divided between all of the things that I do. Like I just left the funeral home this morning. I mean, it's
Wow.
important to me to do all the things that I'm allowed to do, all the gifts. I want to use them all.
So there's a complex beauty in getting to make someone beautiful for the last time.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what that complexity means for you, or just kind of how you see that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I used to do so bad at funerals. It's crazy. I used to
Yeah.
cry for hours. Now, when we talking about Big Mama's funeral, I cried for half a day. And I remember my mom calling and checking on me, like, "Are you okay?" And she still does around funerals. But for me to just walk with it now, and feel honored, I have seen too many people that I know, taken too soon, but to be able to benefit the family and their children because I've grown up with them, or, to do the child of one of my peers from growing up that doesn't even know that I'm working on their child, that means a lot to me, and I want to do my best. I'm really doing what I can in this space. I almost wish I could do like a scared straight something to help shake up some of these kids that don't really realize tomorrow is not promised to you or your
Absolutely.
parents. You know what I mean? So I've gotten way too good at doing bullet holes because this generation is pretty fearless, when it comes to death. So I'm just honored to be in a position where I can bring awareness and also help make something better at the same time.
Yeah.
Most stylists wouldn't think about something like that.
Yeah, it's not a part of the industry a lot of people consider, And I was asked, I was told that I was going to be the one to work on, my godmother and my aunt. They're both still doing the Lord's work on earth, but I have, done my grandmother. I've done several aunties.
Is that what led to the idea?
Cousins. Yeah, I went and got formal training, how to do mortuary airbrush makeup in California, and was able to put my skills to work when asked by someone who lost their daughter way too soon. Yeah, it helped me see it wasn't that hard. But it is hard when you know them.
Right.
It really is, because I find myself not wanting to leave.
I can't imagine.
It's like, if I walk away, that's it.
Right.
But I do the best that I can. I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to that.
I bet.
But yeah, it's something to be able to walk away from, to drive away from, and to be able to text your child and be like, "I love you," just because,
Is that something people should be thinking about? Or I've never thought about it. I mean, and
Yeah.
I don't know how many circles I've got left.
Well, you can't live in fear. That's number one. I mean, I had to let go of that, because that what quality of life is that. You can't take your kids with you. You can't walk around in fear because someone could, in the blink of an eye, take away the decades of work you put into your child. I see it all the time.
Wow.
So, no, you shouldn't think about death. You should think about life and how you're going to live it.
That's better.
Yes.
Should we shift to urban impact?
Why not?
All right. So you're involved in a number of things, including working at Urban Impact.
Yes.
The stated mission there is to break the cycle of generational poverty and bring about a world where everyone is engaged and thriving in community. I was looking a little bit at the website and the organization, but talk to us just generally about Urban Impact.
Urban Impact saved my life.
Okay.
It really did. And it's so funny because we were reflecting this morning in our meeting with my team. I work in the economic development department. So that's one of the pillars that we have to help break that cycle, is investing directly in the community, building up business owners to create jobs and build the opportunity for generational wealth. So we were talking about it because, like I said, my birthday is on Monday. And a couple years back, I was in the program that I now manage. I wanted to be a part of the pitch competition to better develop my skills at pitching my enterprise. And so I also had the opportunity, because I had went back to school, to speak on a panel of women talking about women in the built environment. And I was just like, man, how many opportunities do you get like that? So I withdrew from the program, but the person that was running it back then just offered the support and said, you'll always be a part of the Urban Impact family. And that was amazing. And then he ended up recruiting me. He said, are you by chance interested? And I really was. I had done enough in the space of helping develop the workforce at Molly Moons. I was very happy with the success of the shop, and it was coming up on 5 years, and that is long enough playing store.
Yep.
Right.
As an adult, it's a great paying job, though. It's a beautiful company, but because of the support that I had, I've never had a boss that supported me in what I do outside of making them money, and Molly actually is one of the judges for our pitch competition. So she supports Urban Impact in their efforts too. So, I mean, I say it saved my life because I was at a transition where I really didn't know how I wanted to move about, and working at Urban Impact means that you're working for a faith-based organization. So, technically, I'm working for Jesus right now. So I really enjoy this lifestyle of mine. And it's amazing to have somebody pray for you. Like, I got T-boned and went to work, and my team prayed for me. And I was like, wow, I could have really been down, and the whole domino stack goes if I go.
Yeah.
And that's not the goal. I'm not done.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm able to grow and benefit from learning more and sharing more. And it's just full circle. I get to benefit from helping my friends create legacy businesses and make sure they have the tools or the resources that they need to take their business to the next level if that's what they choose to do. Some people are just fine with their side hustle and living the life that they want, So I'm thankful to be able to work with young people and old, trying to figure out what they want to do before they waste their time chasing their tail. And so, yeah, Urban Impact gives me the opportunity to just be myself and do the good work that I'm already doing.
That sounds so fulfilling, to help people find their thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Urban Impact fulfilled your needs.
It did. It did. It's so funny because life is just so full circle for me being here in Seattle. The people that run that organization are so connected to the generation before me. So I'm able to meet the people that have put in the work for decades to make sure we have these institutions and resources. So yeah, I get to take the baton and take it to the next level.
No, I'm jealous of that. That's I really am. Helping people find how many people come and say, well, how long are you going to do that? Or,
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do after? It's like, when are you going to retire? It's
Yeah.
like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I do this for free.
Yeah.
And to help people find that,
Mm-hmm.
how satisfying.
Oh yeah. I've been working on this particular. He's the only guy that's in our cohort right now for our pitch competition. I've been working on him for like 2-3 years.
Wow.
Like, you need to come and get some formal training because we meet via Zoom. It's no excuse. Like, we want you to be engaged, of course, but camera on, ready to go is great. But in a real 2024 situation, you might be in the car picking up a kid or whatever the case may be. So I understand that. And so I think that's what makes it effortless. It's like, if everybody had wraparound services at their job, we'd all we'd all be on our game. A little support goes a long way. So
you've been working with Africa Town Center for Education and Innovation for a decade. What led you to start doing that?
Oh, well, I am a product of my environment. And because of the fact that I had children in Seattle public schools, I saw a lot of room for improvement, based on my personal experience going through the public education system, and the declining test scores that, we could not ignore. And a group of business owners in the community, parents, advocates, people currently going for office positions politically, tried to rally and see what we could do. So I think a lot of things have been birthed out of that organization. It's amazing to look and see what we've actually accomplished because we have places and spaces that we can direct people to now. And that was the goal.
That's huge. Yeah.
To actually occupy spaces. And that's one of the things that I learned growing up here is if you don't feel you're welcome somewhere, you're not going to go. And this generation is even harder to relate to because they're totally okay being by themselves.
Yeah. They don't want to go places they are welcome.
They're like, oh, family gathering, I'll pass.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay home. But yeah, I felt comfortable going to every corner of Seattle growing up here, by choice. I wanted to go and cheer for the team in South Seattle because I didn't want to cheer for the team in my neighborhood. They were wearing brown. I didn't want to wear brown. So I had Miss Jones, rest her soul, from
So fashion is deciding which team.
Well, as a youngster, plus is who like I said, Miss Jones, who was over at Washington Middle School for decades and impacted so many lives, was the cheer coach. And she was my mom's teacher. So, you go where you have support. So she would pick us up and take us. And so that's how I got to know a lot of the girls that grew up in South Seattle, and the fact that I was bused to school in the North End, made me feel like, well, this is my city too. Northgate, UW, all the different programs that I was able to take advantage of at the different institutions all over the city. Absolutely. Why not me?
Do you think are you part of the minority with that outlook?
Oh, well, see, you asked why I said there are a lot of people like me. I don't know how optimistic other folks are, but that's kind of my fuel.
Well, I love how you said you saw a lot of opportunity for those schools to change and improve, and there was a smile on your face the entire time you said that.
Yeah, there still is. It's sad, but our numbers are like the same as 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was on the Africa Town Center Facebook, and there was something about the Black graduation
Yeah.
and how that's impacted people. Tell me what you think the outcome of that is.
You want people to feel like they have the support of the community behind them as they transition, right? You want people to know that, okay, everybody was on me to graduate. Now that I've graduated, now what?
Right.
Everybody's not going to get the guidance and the support along the way. I wanted to make sure people felt that they could go to Sister Tarasha or Brother Y. King. You need a reference, hit us up. You need recommendations. You need to practice interviews. Like, you need an elder in the community. You need to learn more about your history. We are here collectively. And in that event, that's what we do. So I tried to bring back a recent graduate to kind of speak to, how life has been lifing for them since they went to college, and another young person, and just build them up and start their tool belt at least. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you have to grow into the areas that interest you. And of course, that's our opportunity to say, well, I don't have anything going on. Well, now guess what? We have institutions where we can get you
We can help.
activated. Yeah. We have the William Gross Center where you can work on the tech side if that's what interests you. And we're right now reassessing how we can support the greater Seattle area. Our motivation originally was community engagement, family engagement, and then being a resource for the Black educators in the district. Sometimes you just don't know how to relate to our kids, and that's just the fact. So if you feel you have a resource, then hey, we're all going towards progress. That's the goal.
So the shift is more towards the end user, to the kids, or as opposed to the educators.
Well, it's the three pillars. So the Seattle Public Schools has changed so much, with the demographics forcing buildings closed and children to be displaced. And, just imagine all the people that struggled pivoted to digital learning during COVID. I was just so thankful I had kids when I did. I was like, I don't have anybody to teach anything to. They were getting their own unemployment checks.
No, my last two were in high school during that, and it is a massive change.
Wow. That's a hard one because, ain't nothing after prom and all the things. That's what you look forward to.
Right.
And people didn't even have that experience or graduation itself. So that's what we did with Black graduation. For anybody that wanted to be celebrated, they could nominate their student, or a teacher, a counselor could nominate a student. And, we're like, bring your people, like 5 people max, is encouraged. But yeah, trade school, high school, we've recognized kindergarten and
Saw that. Wow.
8th grade, because it is important. Like, getting through the comprehensive high school model is not easy when it's proven to be biased and not work for you.
All right. Upcoming?
Yep.
Okay, so upcoming, I just actually added another service to fulfill needs. So I'm actually offering, I have a partnership with U-Haul as a dealership. So at my locations in Renton and Tukwila, you can now pick up a U-Haul truck if you need it. And if you need some help getting stuff moved, I can probably fulfill those needs too.
Wow.
So
What?
I mean,
so tell us how that fits.
Those are just all the things on my list. Like, being a petite woman, you know how hard it is to get a couch moved when you find a good deal. You know what I mean? It's
not easy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm trying to be a mover and a shaker. So I'm truly trying to make sure people are taken care of that have been in my situation before. And a door opened up for it to be another stream of income. And that is the goal, to be able to move around and visit my grandson quarterly. So we're activating that. Yeah. And so I am going to be taking new clients as well. So people can fill out an inquiry on my website. It's important to make sure they're a good fit and vice versa. But just offering services to the public, to the greater public, to Seattle. So I offer educational opportunities. for styles that I provide. If your stylist doesn't know how to do them, we can set up a one-on-one.
Right.
If you need better education doing your own kids' hair, you can set up one-on-one training for that too. And that is the business that I want to be known as being the founder of, because that is something that can get passed on. Like every young person that goes away to college, I try and encourage them, try and braid this mannequin while I do your hair, so they can gain the skill set to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody needs their hair done, especially when they're away from their home city. So I'm always thinking business. I used to get on my friends' nerves when we were
Oh, that's
little.
cool.
They're like, will you turn that off?
It's so true. Like, especially when you leave, like, let's say for college or just you leave home for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Most people I know, my girlfriends, didn't get their hair done until they went back home
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving break or Christmas,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Because you're like, well, I don't
Thank you.
know anyone here. I don't trust anyone here. Maybe I'm not comfortable enough to go find somebody here. So I'll just wait
Mm-hmm.
until I go back. So that's
Oh,
wise.
that
It's
struggle
quite
life.
wise. Uh-huh.
Yep. It doesn't have to be though. So
No.
if I can educate a whole generation, everybody be able to take care of everyone and pay it forward,
Mhm.
What is Umoja Fest? Did I say that right?
Yeah, Umoja Fest.
Okay.
I think it sounds the same. Umoja is a
Umoja.
African principle. So that's one of the days of Kwanzaa, and it stands for unity. So, the last generation that would put on the Pan-African Community Festival kind of dismantled. So we stepped up and made it what it is today, and it's continuing to grow. It's our Unity Festival that we host every year, the first weekend of August. It's actually a CFIR sanctioned event. So, it's Blue Angels flying in the air, is vendors as far as the eye can see, it's local artists. We bring a headliner out. We have church in the park on Sundays. It's a day to come back to the city and support the Black community for sure. It's a good, good, good turnout. And we don't have any drama. So keep the drama.
Where does that happen?
Junkins Park.
Okay.
Yeah, right in the heart of the
Junkins.
Central District. Yeah,
During
we have
Seafair weekend.
we have a parade. It used to be a really big thing. So we're just trying to make sure that the next generation still has that opportunity to showcase their drill teams and groups and clubs. And, I look forward to seeing the all-city band coming down the street and, the different people, the mayor and councilmen, see the businesses there on the corners that are still going. It's awesome.
How many years have you been doing it?
11?
Oh, okay.
I've been the logistics coordinator for the last few years, and that's only because White King called me and was like, Mar, you busy? Of course I'm busy. What do you need?
Yes, and what's up?
We just need somebody to tighten up all the okay. So, I enjoy opportunities like that, to be the liaison between the city and the signs and DOT and the armed officers that they require you to have. Like, it's really important to know what's required to put on an event in a major city. So, like I said, I like to challenge myself. But no, I've been the vendor coordinator. I've been the parade coordinator. I've been the fashion show coordinator. I also do hair and makeup for the fashion show, and on top of being the logistics coordinator. So we have a best of both worlds stage that does African fashions, and then we have another main stage, a kids stage. They have their own thing and activities going on with the bouncy houses, and it's just awesome. You smell barbecue all in the park. So
you're clearly very giving.
yes,
I suspect you're very competitive.
Yeah, I don't overly like to win, but I do. I like to complete tasks and get praise. Yes.
Same.
Yeah. Yes.
So when it's all said and done and you look back on your life, what is the impact that you envision having made?
It's funny because when I went back to school and I started seeing the politics behind going electric and all the policy changing and them demanding you to not use gas when you build new construction, and just how the world is shaping itself without any ask from me or you.
Right.
I was just like, I should be the sustainable sister. Just to lead by example and show people how you can maintain a great quality of life without wasting your life. So it applies to not only the built environment by living sustainably, but I really didn't get a chance to really practice self-care until I was in my 30s. And that is because of choices that I made early on
Right.
in life. However, I don't want anybody else to have to wait till their 30s, so change your ways. When you know better, do better. So I can only be a living example of that, and I'm okay with that.
That would be something to be proud of.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, last question. So this show is all about advocating for people making a difference, like you. Who do you think in our community doesn't get enough credit for the work that they're doing now?
It's so easy for me to lift her up, and I'm not sure how many platforms that she has, but I will say, my beauty school professor, Miss Patricia Valentine, she is everything. And I have many mentors. There's many people in the community that have built into me to be the way that I am today, that believed in me and protected me. But she just called me last week and asked me if she could interview me. And they're trying to do a survey from the Department of Ecology to see the long-term health benefits and effects of beauticians. And it's just like, this woman is retired and she's still putting in the good work.
Mhm.
Not to mention, she's responsible for several of the beauticians in the Seattle area being successful just because she was the example. And for her to text me and tell me how proud she is of me, that it's actually quite amazing. She knew my grandmother. So, I mean, it runs deep when genuine love is shown to you. Okay. So, and that to me is the goal.
Yes.
You've done your job. And, at the hair show of one of the business owners that I work with, Aisha, it's the annual event that she supports volunteers. And I just told her, I said, you know what? I don't know if you knew this, but I recently worked on our other professor that would come and substitute at the funeral home. And she said, it was Miss Bynum. And she said, you did a great job. She said she lived an amazing life. We're talking about 91. Like, yes, this is how you get there, by following the example of people that give you life, that breathe love into you. And that's what I want to be highlighted and showcased, because it really makes a difference. Like, for her to believe in me and support me from 1998 until now is priceless.
Well, based on what you're doing now, I feel like someone's going to say that about you in about 40 years.
No
doubt.
Yeah.
I have no doubt. We hope you enjoyed today's stories, and join us again at The Heart of Advocacy.
This episode was edited by Kendall Perkinson and mastered by Guido Bertolini. Produced by Deanna Fong and Taylor DeLine. Storyboard and podcast development by Luke Russell.
Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at We Are Advocates. As we wrap up, we'd like to express our heartfelt thanks to you, our listeners, for your continued support and engagement. I'm Doni.
And I'm Ken.
Together, we are all working to make a world more equitable and just. You've been listening to The Heart of Advocacy.
See you next time.